Good evening students. In today's video we will discuss about the sewing thread, the properties of the sewing thread, the different fibers which are used for making the sewing thread, the construction of sewing thread, that is the twist direction which is given to the sewing thread. Then we will also discuss the different thread packages, that is the packages on which the sewing thread is wound, and what is the relevance of the sewing thread coarseness or fineness on the properties of the seam and the final garment. Now, all of us would agree that sewing thread is an integral part of the seam because any kind of seam or stitch that is applied, that is done with the help of sewing thread. So, sewing thread becomes an important part of the seam and the final garment. So, a garment will be strong enough only depending on the strength of the sewing thread. Similarly, during sewing, as the stitch formation takes place, so the loops are to be formed. So this sewing thread should have good loop forming property so that the stitches are formed properly. Likewise, it should have good knot strength, because if in some portions the thread is breaking, we may need to knot between the different portions of the thread. So likewise, the sewing thread should have good tensile strength so that during sewing and in the after use it is durable. The garment, the seam from where the sewing thread has become part of that seam and the garment is durable. So basically we'll be looking at the construction part of the sewing thread. What are the different fibers which go into the making of sewing thread. But first of all, we should understand that what is a sewing thread. So two or more yarns twisted together into a composite structure is sewing thread. When we talk about yarns, it is formed by the integration of fibers, that is the fibers are integrated or the fibers are held together by means of twisting. When two or more such yarns are twisted together in such a manner that in the final sewing thread, the twist direction will be opposite to that of the parent yarn. So that will result in the formation of sewing thread. And the sewing thread should possess properties like strength, it should have smoothness, it should be evenly spun into hard, twisted and elastic form. And some kind of special finishing process may also be applied on sewing thread. For example, if sewing thread is to be used for sewing water repellent or flame retardant garments, so the sewing thread should possess same property, that is it should either be flame retardant or waterproof respectively, depending on the property which the garment will be possessing. So that is imparted to sewing thread by application of special finishes on the sewing thread. Moreover, the sewing thread should be resistant to abrasion, because when the sewing thread will be passing through the eye of the needle and forming the stitch, the machine is running at a very high speed. The needle is continuously showing reciprocating up and down movement. So there is a substantial amount of stress on the sewing thread also. It should be able to withstand those mechanical forces or abrasion during sewing. And even once the garment is made, the garment, when it will be worn, the wearer will be showing different kind of physical activities, or the garment will be subjected to washing, tumble drying, etc. in during laundering in machine. So at that time also, in the seamed portion of the garment, the seam as well as the sewing thread that becomes part of that seam will be subjected to different kind of stresses. So if the sewing thread is of good strength, if it has good abrasion resistance and tensile strength, only then it will be able to withstand the stresses during sewing and in the after use, when that garment is worn by the wearer or when it is laundered. So when we talk about the basic requirements, so sewability is one important requirement. What is sewability? It is the ability of thread to produce a seam with minimum number of breakages and least damage to the thread and the fabric during sewing operation. As we just discussed this, that when sewing is taking place, machine is running at high speed, so there should not be any damage to the sewing thread at that time, and the sewing process should go on smoothly. So that is related to the sewability. There is another parameter related to sewing which is known as seam performance. Seam performance is the ability of thread to produce the desired functional serviceability in the desired seam. So what is serviceability here? That is, in the seam that we are making, what kind of end use we want or what kind of property we require, whether that seam should be strong, durable, or it should possess good stretchability. So that is related to the serviceability, and it will depend on the properties of the sewing thread with the help of which the seam is being formed. So this can be determined by a parameter known as seam efficiency. So seam efficiency is determined as percentage, and it is given as the ratio of seam strength to fabric strength into 100. So what are the salient features of a good sewing thread? It should have a balanced twist, it should have adequate strength, it should have moderate elongation, high initial modulus, uniform lubrication, free from any kind of knots, falls. It should be able to sustain the high needle temperature when the machine will be running at high speed. So needle will get heated up, the needle temperature will rise. So in such circumstances, the sewing thread should be able to withstand that high temperature. It should not melt because of the needle heating. It should have high abrasion resistance. Shade consistency is important. It should not fade, or its color should not get discharged as it is washed, or when the garment is dried in sunlight, or when the garment using this sewing thread will be washed. It should have controlled residual shrinkage, and it should have good dye uptake. Dye uptake is very important because the sewing thread may be dyed in different colors to match the requirements of the fabric and the garment on which it is to be used. So there are different type of sewing threads: spun sewing threads, coarse spun sewing threads, continuous filament sewing threads. So this is based on the fiber type which go into the making of the sewing thread. So spun sewing threads will be consisting of short staple fibers like cotton and such like natural fibers which go into the making of spun sewing threads. Coarse spun sewing thread is a special construction of sewing thread which we'll see further also. So coarse spun sewing thread consists of core and the sheath part. Core is the central part of the sewing thread, which is generally composed of polyester, and the sheath part or the outer wrapper fibers consists of natural fiber like cotton. So we can have polyester cotton core sheath sewing thread made from polyester, which is used in the core, and cotton, which is used in the sheath portion of the sewing thread. Then the sewing thread can also be made from filament yarns, which can be monofilament and multifilament. So based on that, the sewing thread can be monofilament sewing thread, where in the yarn cross section a single filament is present, and multifilament where it consists of more than one filaments in the yarn cross section. So spun sewing thread, for example, cotton fiber, when used for the making of yarn and then for sewing thread. So it is soft finished cotton, high quality combed cotton, bleached or dyed, and low friction lubricant cotton fibers are generally used for the making of soft finished type of cotton spun sewing thread. Glaze finished cotton sewing threads are made from soft cotton threads which are consolidated and protected by a special coating and polished by high speed rotating brushes to give the thread its special glaze appearance. In some cases, if we require a special kind of glaze or shiny appearance on the surface of sewing thread, so in that case a finish may be applied on the sewing thread, and that kind of cotton sewing thread is known as the glaze finished cotton sewing thread. It is used in heavy fabrics, button stitching, or leather goods where we want stitching to be on the top surface, where the stitching will be visible. The sewing thread will be visible on the top surface, either in footwear or in any of the accessory designing. So this kind of glaze finished cotton sewing thread can be used in such cases. Mercerized cotton is high quality cotton thread which is mercerized. Mercerization is a process which is done to improve the luster and tenacity. So it is done with caustic soda treatment, and these kind of mercerized cotton sewing threads are used for general stitching, for domestic sewing, and for embroidery purpose. these can be used. So linen is another choice of fiber which is used for making the spun sewing thread, and it is used for stitching footwear, for tents, for tarpaulins, and for leather goods. But now it has been replaced by synthetic fibers for making the sewing threads, because synthetic sewing threads offer better strength and abrasion resistance compared to the sewing threads made from natural fibers. So we can have polyester, 100% polyester, which is used for the making of sewing thread, or we can have blended, where two fibers in different proportions can be blended to form a sewing thread, like polyester cotton, viscose cotton. And another thread construction is coarse spun type of construction, where we have two different kind of fibers, one in the core and another one in the sheath, or as the outer wrapper fibers. So here, like 60% polyester forms the core of the sewing thread, and it will be wrapped by the cotton fibers as the sheath or the wrapper fibers. So why this is done, why polyester is used in core and cotton in the sheath? Because polyester is, as we know, that it is thermoplastic fiber. So as we discussed that when the machine is running at high speed, so the needle gets heated up and the needle temperature rises. So in such cases, polyester sewing thread, if used, like if 100% polyester sewing thread is used, that needle heating may cause melting of the synthetic sewing threads like polyester. So in order to protect the polyester portion of the sewing thread from needle heating or from melting, it is used in a core, so that it is not directly exposed to the heating, to the needle heating. And cotton being temperature resistant, it can withstand high temperature, so it is used as wrapper or the sheath fibers, which will provide protection to the sewing thread against high temperature because of needle heating. And whatsoever fiber we used in the core, it will contribute to strength. So here, polyester in the core is contributing to the strength of the sewing thread, and cotton as the sheath or the wrapper fiber here is providing protection against needle heating or high temperature. So basically we can say that this type of thread construction is best out of the lot, because here we get the advantage of both the kind of fibers in one sewing thread. That is, we get strength from polyester when used in core, and we get high temperature resistance by sheath or the wrapper fibers using cotton in the outer sheath or the wrapper fibers. Then continuous filament sewing threads are used where we want some lustrous or shiny kind of appearance, and particularly the sewing thread will be visible on the face side of the garment. So it can be used for bespoke tailoring, for embroidery, or on heirloom kind of, on expensive type of garments. So either monofilament or multi-filament, both type of sewing threads can be used, but generally monofilament sewing threads are difficult to handle and harsh. So that is why generally multi-filament sewing threads are preferred for such applications. Monofilament is used for over edging low quality clothes and for upholstery. And when we talk about multi-filament sewing threads, this is the construction of the sewing thread. So they can be bonded or texturized. Bonded is low twist and bonded by some kind of bonding agents, and texturizing is a process by which some crimp or textured appearance is given to the sewing thread. So it results in giving softness and extensibility to the sewing thread. It is ideal for covering very extensible seams in knitwear, underwear, swimwear, slacks, etc. And it is well suited to serging and cover stitch machines. Serging and cover stitch we had discussed earlier is example of class 500 kind of stitch, which is basically used to cover the edges of the fabric. And then another sewing thread construction is air entangled. Air entangled is basically the kind of sewing thread construction where instead of plying, the different yarns are held together by jet of air which entangles the different yarns together. So you can see this kind of random arrangement of the yarns. So this is particularly suitable for multi-needle swing thread machines where we have more than one needles operative on the machine. And then swing thread construction basically consists of how the swing thread is plied, corded, or it can be cabled. So this is generally related to how many plies go into the making of the swing thread. So a plied yarn has two or more single yarns twisted in which it may run together in the same direction or opposite. So plying is the general principle of plying is basically that the two parent yarns, if they are Z twisted, they when formed into a swing thread, the final yarn, the final swing thread will be having S twist and vice versa. So that means the direction in the final resultant swing thread will always be opposite to that in the single yarns that was present. So when two or more such threads are doubled, they form a cabled yarn. So cabled yarn is formed when such threads are being doubled together. And when we talk about the swing thread twist direction, so we can have two possible ways of twisting the swing thread. That can either be S twist or Z twist. So swing thread manufacturers will spin the single yarn in S or Z direction, but the resultant twist that is generally preferred is in the Z direction. So this is showing that how the swing thread is formed. Short fibers such as cotton and synthetic fibers. Synthetic fibers mean that the long fiber that is spun by melting is cut into short fibers. So synthetic fibers like polyester and all, they can be made available in both spun as well as filament form. If they are cut, so they can be made into staple form. If they can also be made available in the filament form depending on our requirement. So here the single yarns is formed by twisting of the fibers, and this is showing that how the plied structure is formed when such single yarns will be twisted in opposite direction to form the final swing thread. So we will end here, and in the next video we will discuss the ticket number, which is basically related to the coarseness or the fineness of the swing thread. So far we have discussed that what is the relevance of studying the properties of swing thread, how important the swing thread is in determining the properties of the seam and the final garment. It should possess good tensile strength, abrasion resistance. It should withstand the mechanical forces or stresses exerted during swing. And then we discuss some of the constructions which are used in making the swing thread. For example, spun, filament, monofilament and multifilament, and core spun or the core sheet type of swing thread construction. So that is all for today's video. Thank you.